Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of those things. I've been advised, well, you really shouldn't be doing rant videos because it's really bad for your image. And it'll screw up your channel. Oh, give me a break. Honestly, to tell you the honest truth, it doesn't matter. These are my opinions, and if opinions are a problem, then you probably shouldn't be watching this channel anyway, because I don't do things in the traditional way, and I basically never have. I've always been kind of a rebel. It's in my bloodline, goes way back to Scotland, Austria. My ancestors were notorious rebels, and it's just the way it is. So it's in my bloodline to speak out on certain things. So one thing I've noticed lately, and it's something I've been talking to different people about, and it's something that I've noticed in different spheres, and it's this constant. I don't know what it is, but it's this constant need for people to smooch each other's butts. And I'm not talking about, like people being supportive of each other. That's fine. People being supportive of each other. That's great. But when they're actively like promoting each other, and they're like the bigger channels and stuff like that on this network, and even a lot of the smaller channels do it too. But they form these little cliques, and of course I've spoken out about cliques and stuff like that before. Um, and it's just ridiculous, because what it does is it takes all the attention to them, and all the sheep that follow these big channels that sit there, and either they bought these people, or these people, I mean, a lot of them could be fake. There are companies that will, where you can pay money to these companies in India and the Philippines and different countries, where they will, and I don't even know, it might happen here too, but where they will go and they will increase your subscriber base on YouTube, um, artificially. And they will also, they have bots that will leave comments, and this is all over social media. It isn't just YouTube. It's also on it's on everything. Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on Twitch, it's everywhere. There are bots all over the place where people will artificially inflate their subscriber numbers, and those bots will even leave comments, and they're very generic comments, but they will leave them. Somebody will type out maybe 50 to 100 comments and then put it into the bot program, and the bots will put those comments out randomly on whichever channel bought that bot service from them. So a lot of times when you're talking to people online, a lot of times you might not even be talking to an actual person. You may be interacting with a bot. And it's kind of disturbing. But, sorry for clearing my throat so much. I'm in bad health as it is, so it is what it is. Everybody who knows me on this channel, they know my health problems. So anyway, regardless of that. But yeah, a lot of times you won't even be talking to a human. But then a lot of these people will sit there and on camera kiss each other's butts. And I've seen it so much. If you're not part of their little club, then you are basically dog shit. That is what it comes down to. And it doesn't matter what you do or where you've been, your amount of talent, the great things that have happened to you along those lines. Like my channel here, I have gotten praise from different groups. Recently, Neil Sean contacted me and gave me a thumbs up. And Neil Sean is the lead guitarist and one of the founders of Journey. He's been Journey's lead guitarist all through the decades. And he liked my cover of Any Way You Want It. And he sent me a private message on Twitter in order to, give me a thumbs up. Just give me some encouragement, basically. And I talked to him on Facebook once as well. And so, these things are cool. Pretty awesome. It's nice to connect with, musicians that are in, deeply in the business, especially legendary musicians like that. I've gotten likes from Peter Frampton, from Queensryche, from an old 80s group called Junkyard. from Jack Russell of Great White, and from Royston Langdon of Space Hog, and there have been several others that have liked my stuff, that have enjoyed it, and said positive things, and it's great, And you would think with all of that attention from actual rock stars and stuff that my channel would be just flying, but it's not. You know why? Because I'm not a member of the club. That's why. My channel doesn't grow at these ridiculous rates because I'm not a member of the club, and I'm not part of a specific demographic that people tend to pander to and suck up to. And we all know those demographics because the guitar companies are doing them too. I've had to unsubscribe from a lot of guitar companies' YouTube pages and from their Instagram feeds and other things because I got sick and tired of all the pandering. And these companies, they pander to these people of specific demographics, whether it be race, sex, whatever, sexual preference, things along those lines. And the woker you are, the more they're going to pander to you. And it's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with music. It's all about cults of personality. I was just watching a video just out of curiosity because it came up in my feed where Rick Beato was kissing Mary Spender's butt, and it's like, honestly, there are people on this network, Mr. Beato, who are actually talented as well, and you're not smooching their butt, but you're smooching hers because she's popular. It's like this little club of popular YouTubers. And yet, the thing that bugs me about all of this, and why should I be complaining about this? It sounds like a bunch of whining and complaining. It's because people who deserve attention are not getting it. And I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm talking about all sorts of talented people that are on YouTube and putting out videos. Excellent videos of high quality. And they've got talent. And they've got style, and they're doing great things, and their videos are awesome, and their talent is awesome, their sound is awesome. But yet, all of these people that are cults of personality, like Rick Beato, like Stevie T, Music is Win, and all these other people that have basically sold their souls to whatever guitar company was buying at the time. These people with this undeserved popularity are sitting there and they're getting all the attention while all these talented people are getting ignored. And this is the music business in the music community these days. You know why? Overload. That's why. The problem is we've got things like Spotify. Now, back in the old days when I was young, we used to, if you wanted to, listen to a specific group, you had to wait until it came on the radio or on MTV or whatever. Or you went out and actually got money together and bought the album. So you had an investment in it. These days, you can just sit there and put on Spotify and you can listen to any group for free. Their music. And all you got to do is, if you don't pay for this for a Spotify prescription, yeah, really, it is kind of a drug injection for certain people. But if you don't pay for, all you got to do is you just endure an ad after like every second or third song, in between songs on your Spotify playlist or whatever, and that's it. I mean, that's but you can pretty much listen to anything you want, and there are so many different groups on Spotify. You have everything. So now the investment's no longer there. So what people are doing is they're just, music's becoming a secondary thing. Music is the glue that kind of holds us together. Because music to me is something that has always been in my life. Ever since I was a little kid, when I was really young, like 3 or 4 years old, sitting there and listening to my brother's tape player, listening to these Beatles tapes that he had. The Beatles were like the first group that I really ever seriously listened to, and I was just a little kid. I was a toddler, and I'm listening to the Beatles and really into it. And it propelled me to become a musician at 8 years old. in 1976. I became a drummer at 8 years old. And I did that because music meant the world to me, because there was an investment in it. There was a time investment in it. There wasn't a bunch of distractions. People, and they've been looking at demographics, as far as, well, not demographics, but statistics as far as when people watch videos on YouTube or if they listen to music. They only listen to the first 30 seconds of it, and then they're on to something else. How can you only listen to 30 seconds of a song and then be suddenly on to something else? That's not something we did back in the day. Otherwise, you'd be sitting there, fast forwarding the tape player, or you'd be sitting there on the, with the arm of the record player, lifting it, moving it all the time. And but now these days it's like quick consumption, and everything has kind of suffered because of it. Things that come out these days, they seem to have no substance. And why? Because there's so much quick consumption going on. And the thing is, it's a mentality. And the problem is everything's so convenient that people just think simply now. They don't put thought into a lot of things. If you want to know something, ask your smartphone. It will tell you, of course, it will tell you something that has been programmed to tell by Google or by Apple, what they want you to know about that. There's no more research. There's no more going to the library and looking up, looking up books or things along those lines. Or even searching on the internet like we used to do in the 90s, where in the early 2000s too, where there were no smartphones, there were just these, there were cell phones, but they weren't smartphones, and they didn't do your thinking for you. These days, people have their thinking done for them, and I think that really plays into how all these super undeservedly popular sellouts on YouTube and other places in social media get so popular. Why? Because the less thinking involved, the better. And that is... it's a problem, but what are we going to do? How are we going to change it? That's the question. But the thing is, one thing we can do is to support these smaller channels. If you see a channel that has 1 billion views on it, don't go to it. Don't even give them another view. Go to the smaller channels. Give these people, your views. I have specific friends that are on here that are really good people. Joe Music is a good channel. CCJ, I can't remember the full name of his channel, but he's also a commenter on my channel. A lot of commenters on my channels have their own channels. There's Robert. Gosh, I'm getting terrible with names these days, even though I know these people full on. I will, let me click on this and check out. But yeah, there's Rob Clark, and there's CCJ Music, and there's a whole bunch of these smaller channels that they're excellent. And they deserve the views just as much as people like Rick Beato, Music is Win, and all the other guys who are owned by record companies, or not record companies, but guitar companies or other companies. They're worth your time, but yet people are not going to them because the crowd's not there. The crowd of other people. And one thing, when I was a little kid, I used to go to a friend's house and they had chickens, and one thing I noticed about the chickens is they thought in a kind of a herd mentality in a way. Because if you threw out the food on the ground and you sat there and watched them, it would take 1 or 2 of them to start eating before the rest of them would come. And then if there was more than 2 or 3 of them, then the rest came. And I think that has a lot to do with us too, because with people, if they see a ton of people going to a YouTube channel, then they will go to that YouTube channel. They see it getting a bunch of, tons of views, they will go and watch it, because they want to see what it's all about. And that's where these people can buy, who buy these things. That's the result that they can get out of it. It's manipulation, basically. They'll go and, excuse me, and they'll buy subscriptions, you know, fake subscriptions, bot subscriptions. And YouTube claims to do something about it. Yeah, sure they do. YouTube, the only thing I see them doing is bullying the smaller channels and channels that don't politically agree with them. I don't see them doing anything about these botted channels that are sellouts and owned, you know. And so you get a bunch of mindless people in their channels in the comment section who just sit there and suck up to them. And it's so pathetic. Either they're bots, and if they're not bots, if they're real people doing that, that is pathetic. To sit there and suck up to somebody because you like how they look, you know, or that they're popular. How shallow is that? That is something I never, ever, ever want to be. And so for that reason, I'm kind of glad my channel is small, because I don't have to deal with sycophants. You know, people who would genuinely, you know, like what I do and like the stuff. They like it because they like it. Because I have an opinion, and I have opinions, and I'm not bought by any company. And I'm not afraid to voice my opinions. That's the thing. And it may put a lot of people who are suck-ups off. And hey, there's the door. If you want to suck up to me, there's the door. There's no reason to suck up to me. I'm just a person. I play music for people. That is what I do. I enjoy it. I've been doing it for decades, and I'll continue to do it until I expire from this planet. And that's all there is to it. I'm not going to sell out to any company, you know. These companies don't give you money unless you're a team player, or, you know, even money, or they send you products. I was watching a channel that, you know, I really kind of respected, and then I saw that this expensive amp company sent them a free amp for just out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, here we go. These companies, let me clue you in on one thing as the last thing. These companies do not give, and I've said this before many times, and I want this to burn into your skulls. These companies who give free products to YouTube channels don't do it out of the goodness of their hearts. Have you ever known a corporation or a company to just hand you money out of the goodness of their hearts? No, it's never happened. There's always an angle in it. There is an angle to everything. And there is an angle to them giving these guys, these YouTube channels, free equipment and free instruments. I was given a free guitar once by Monoprice, and there was an exchange. The exchange was I record 3 videos for them, and that's it, and it's done. And it was, and that was it. It was over. There was no agreement, nothing. And if there was, I would have told my subscribers, because I believe in transparency and honesty. So that's it. That's this rant video. You know, don't be a suck up. Don't kiss up to people because they've got they're a specific gender, or they're a specific popularity, or certain companies like them. You know, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here on my channel, but still, it's stupid. It really is. It all it does is it just shows that you, if you're willing to suck up to these popular people, you have no self-respect whatsoever. None whatsoever. I have self-respect. I have integrity. And I will hold on to it until I expire. That's all there is to it. And I know the people that are closest to me are the same way. They don't suck up. They don't kiss up. They just go along and make music and keep their integrity intact. And there's a lot more value in that than being someone else's sheep. Have a good day.